Hello my friends, I'm excited to share this product with you. Well, actually it's not one product, it's 3, but they all coordinate together. So it's really fun if you have one to use the other so they all go together. So let me share them with you. They're all by Sizzix, designed by me, Stephanie. And what they are matching embossing folders that coordinate with the Framelits dies. So for example, this shape here goes in this embossing folder. This shape here goes in this embossing folder. And let me show you what they look like. So, and I keep them in my handy dandy little envelopes here because they're so much easier to store. So what I've done is I've broken up the embossing folders. So one goes with one set of Framelits and the other one goes with the other Framelits, just so I can keep them together. So here's the embossing folder, and you can tell that mine is the prototype because it has the little fancy weird label on it. Yours won't have that label, but this is what it looks like. And then these are the matching Framelits that go with it. And so for example, I could cut this one out and put it on there and it would be framed, or I could take the one that's a little smaller. In fact, let me just show you that because it's easier to show you than it is to tell you, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring over my famous Big Shot machine that I adore, and I'm gonna take off tab 2. Now, of course, these products work in the Big Kick and the Vagabond as well as other competitors' machines. And I'm gonna take the embossing folder and let's do this blue. And the nice thing about these embossing folders is they're perfect for A2 cards. And I'm going to make sure that I line this up just so it's just a good size and so it's as close to being in the middle as possible. And I'm gonna take an extra 2 minutes just to do that because I want it to be framed exactly on this cardstock, and I cut this cardstock a little tight. Normally what I would do is I would not cut my cardstock until I'm done. I would make it, it would be a bigger when I'd run it through the machine, just so I don't have to worry about getting it perfectly lined up the first time. So I just use bigger cardstock. So I'm gonna run this through the die cut machine. And the nice thing about Sizzix embossing folders is they always give you a deep impression. And that's always fantastic because look at how deep that impression is. And when you get one of these, you'll go, wow, that is a fantastic impression. So now what I'm gonna do, so I have that done. Now what I'm gonna do is in a different color, I'm going to die cut one of the Framelits. Now I'm gonna close that embossing, that tab 2, so now I'm using my entire multi-purpose platform. And a nice thing about this is I can kind of line up my Framelits on this embossing folder that I've already done, on the embossing that I've already done, and I can say, ooh, that one looks like it would be nice on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the largest one for our example. And I know that's not gonna move too much, so I don't need to use a Post-it note, and I'm simply just gonna run it through the machine. Any cracking you hear is totally normal. It's just the blades going into your cutting pad. So now I have my cute little label cut out. And now what I can do is I can line that up right there, and look at that. It fits perfectly in that embossed image. So I'm just gonna grab some adhesive just so you can see that. Now I am halfway done to creating a card because I already have the front perfectly done. So I'm just gonna line that up. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? So now I have the embossed image and a different color on the inside. Now, if I wanted to, I could have used this embossed image and then cut out. I could have taken away from that blue cardstock and used something else and done something totally different with it. But isn't that a great example of just how they work well together? So let me show you the other one quickly, just because I want you to be able to get the example for both of them. So again, in my handy dandy envelope that I love. And this time, let's emboss the gray just for something different. So we're gonna line that up. And this one is a little bigger, which was smart. It's always better to have it a little bigger because you can always cut it down, right? So we'll line that up. And again, I'm gonna take tab 2 off. And I'm gonna get my handy dandy sandwich. So I'm gonna use a cutting pad on the bottom, or my bread, my embossing folder, and my other cutting pad, also known as bread. And I'm gonna run it through the machine. Now this one is a little different in design. Woo! Look at those dots, they just pop off that page. So now what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll cut that with my handy dandy trimmer just to make sure that it's all nice and even. So I'm just gonna trim a little bit of that off. There we go. That looks fantastic. And now we're gonna use one of our Framelits. And I always like to get them all out to decide which one I want to use for this project. Now this one I almost feel like is the exact same size, so let's kind of line that up. Let's try this one. I don't even know what number this is. I want you to play when you get these at home. Play and have fun with them, and then you get to decide, ooh, do I like the extra frame around it? Do I want more gray showing? Do I want less gray showing? And so we're gonna run that through. And you can always start big and go smaller again. So if I decide this one's too big, I can use the cutout image and cut out a smaller one. So now I have this one, and let's see how that matches up. Fabulous. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? So now what I can do is I can go ahead and add some adhesive. Whoops, add some adhesive. And I'm going to pop that in right in there. And I'm a little crooked, but you'll get the idea. So there you go. Here's my other example. There you go. So make sure you check these out on the website because I think they're absolutely fantastic. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.